Hello, Mark Mahoney, EDL 850, Module 8B, Case Study Standard 5, Internet Use Violations. Category 1, Problem Identification and Data Analysis. What we know. We know, number one, that Roosevelt High is an affluent area in the city. It is highly regarded for its manicured lawns, its high reputation for the professionals that work in that community, and the standards that they hold for their students and their gated community. Number two, we know Dr. Stephen Forbes has been the principal at Roosevelt High for 9 years. He is highly respected in the community. He has won awards including Principal of the Year, and he has a high reputation for his hiring skills, for his expectations in the building, and wants to be the most prestigious school in the state. Number three, we know that he hired Mrs. Walker to teach specialized science. She's a first-year teacher with an undergraduate, a graduate, and 1 year of postgraduate work. So she is a little bit older than a normal first-year teacher. And number four, we know that Mrs. Walker's teaching style is very rigorous. She has high standards for herself and for her classroom. Those teaching styles are leading to high stress and anxiety for each student in her classroom. We also know, number one, that Dr. Forbes has offered several techniques to help Mrs. Walker implement into her classroom and to help reduce the stress and high anxiety that the students are feeling in her classroom. Number two, Mrs. Walker has yet to use those techniques and has not changed her teaching style to meet the needs of the students, the teachers, and the expectations of Dr. Forbes. And number three, we also know that Dr. Forbes has concerns from the parents and students about the poor instruction and the workload that each kid is receiving. This community has, like I said, very high expectations. They want their child to be the valedictorian, salutatorian, and they know that those awards mean a lot, and there's a possibility that they might have a low grade based on Mrs. Walker's inability to change her teaching style. We also know that, number one, Mrs. Walker received an email over Veterans Day weekend that was highly suggestive, had curse words in it, and was threatening to herself, that she felt that someone might want to kill her. The email stated that through a web page that she got, and they wanted to know who wanted to see Mrs. Walker disappear. As soon as she received that email, she called Dr. Forbes, the principal, and asked what she should do. She felt unsafe, and she wanted to know what best actions would be to take care of this situation. Dr. Forbes asked to see if she had any disgruntled students. He asked to see the webpage, and that he would get to the bottom of this and assure her of her safety, and possibly even meet with the tech team if he needed to find out where the webpage was designed at. He also told Mrs. Walker, number five, that he would print off hard copies of the email and webpage and make sure that he has documented everything to make sure that her safety was okay, her job was okay, and that they would find the student or students or person who designed this webpage. What we need to know. Number one, we need to know the information of the student that she believes was in charge of this, Mr. Randy Franks. They say he has great computer skills. We need to know more about him. Number two, we need to know what the policies the district holds on technology. Was it designed in school? And need to know how the district would take care of this along with Dr. Forbes. Number three, where was the webpage designed? Like I said, was it designed at school? Was it designed at home? Was it designed on a school computer? And what strategies did Dr. Forbes give Mrs. Walker to change her teaching style, to reduce the workload, to reduce the stress and anxiety? And lastly, what we need to know is the district policy on a case like this. Surely there has been cases like this or information like this what steps we need to follow. I think Dr. Forbes did a good job by making hard copies, calming down Miss Walker, but we need to know what steps they do follow if we need to go on with this, if this is not a prank. The problem is that a teacher was sent an email that had death threats to it, her unsafety. They believe that the webpage was designed by one of Mrs. Walker's students, Mr. Randy Franks. And the problem is that we're taking this case very, very serious and the threat very real. And Dr. Forbes is going to review the case and take the steps necessary to resolve this issue as quickly as possible. Category 2, plan of action. Number 1 plan of action is make the superintendent and district aware of the incident. I think the more people that are involved in this situation, the better off you are. You can also add the police officer or SRO to this plan, but I think letting know the district of what happened, that way they understand if they receive phone calls or if they need to help Dr. Forbes or Mrs. Walker. Number 2, they need to find out where the webpage was designed, where it was made at, and obviously who did it. Number 3, communicate with Miss Walker and document all findings regarding this case. See if she has any information that maybe led up to this incident. Review her previous emails, review her previous classroom settings, and make sure that she has everything taken care of that way. Lastly, number 4, develop a plan of action on how to discipline all parties involved with constant communication with the district office. I think there's steps to be followed. I think the parents need to be contacted, the kids need to be contacted, and obviously, like I said earlier, the district needs to be contacted to make sure make them aware of what is going on. Also, with the plan of action, number 1, interview the students said to be involved in the webpage. Obviously, we want to get as much information as we can with those students. Hopefully, they tell the truth with that. Number 2, review the district's policy of code of conduct through technology, through threats, and make sure we're diligent on those regards of the policy. And number 3, inform the students and parents of the consequences once the case has been resolved. Strategic designed for a resolution. Number 1, we need to get technology support to identify where this webpage was designed at. I think they're the most reliable resource that we have. Number 2, I would hold a faculty meeting to inform the staff of what is going on. Obviously, I'm not going to give all the details, but I would like to have them have a view of what's going on so that they can give support to Miss Walker and maybe have some insight on the case. Mentor Miss Walker to assist her in her classroom management, whether that's another science teacher, whether that's a couple different teachers she can meet with, she can talk to, but I think Mrs. Walker needs a mentor and to keep her positive and make sure she feels safe and she's doing a good job. Number 4, we want to document everything in the investigation. We want to make sure that we are not, that people are watching us document it, whether it's with a tape recorder, whether it's with writings. We want to make sure that everything is documented. Number 5, our plan of action to prevent future situations like this. Obviously, this is probably a very rare case, but we want to make sure that this does not happen again and do everything we can do to make sure that our teachers and kids are safe and feel unthreatened in the classroom and outside the classroom. And lastly, do a follow-up interview, follow-up meeting with the teachers and students and parents to make sure everybody's on the same page and that we are moving forward with this and trying to take care of the situation as quickly as possible, but doing it also the right and ethical way. Category 3, best action for students. Conduct a fair investigation. Make sure that you don't believe in rumors. You do your job and make sure that the questions are fair and you interview everybody you can to make sure everybody gets a fair shake and you get the information you need. Number 2, develop an advisory board for students and administration. This is where the principal can meet with students throughout the year, see what's going on in the hallway, see what's going on in classrooms, and see what we can do to help the entire school to be successful. Design a new teacher mentor program. Anytime there's a new teacher into the building, whether they're a first-year teacher or a veteran teacher, anytime they're in that building, I think they need a mentor to kind of get a grasp of the settings, of the expectations, and of the community. And lastly, model and educate effective use of technology. Make sure that we review that in our classrooms, in our faculty meetings, and with our students and parents on how to use technology correctly and safely. The resolution, take the threat seriously. This is a threat on someone's life. Investigate it to its full extent, even though it might be a prank. The most important thing is to take care of the people involved. Give Miss Walker the guidance and support she needs from the entire school. Third, we want to promote a positive and safe learning environment. We want to make sure that is said over and over, and our kids are taken care of as well as our teachers. And lastly, follow-up meetings. We want to make sure that we don't just leave this and sweep it under the rug. We want to talk about it with teachers and students so that this action does not take place again, and we are doing what's best for our entire community. Category 4, what was I thinking, feeling, and valuing? What if I received an email as a teacher if I came home? How would I handle that? I think Mrs. Walker did the right thing. I also thought, what did I do as a teacher to cause this email? Was it because I didn't take Mr. Forbes' advice? Was I unwilling to change? Did the school do enough to help Mrs. Walker in the first year? I don't think they did. I think they, obviously I don't know that, but I don't think she did. I think a mentor, I think once we saw the problem, she probably needed to get help, get pulled into the office and really show her the support and guidance that she needed. I thought Dr. Forbes did an unbelievable job. He didn't jump to conclusions. He calmed Mrs. Walker down. He got the information he did and was going to follow the steps up on Monday to make sure this situation was resolved. And lastly, as a parent of 2 children in high school, I hope that I've raised my children with my wife, that this is no way to handle a situation, that there are other ways to resolve the stress and anxiety that you might feel. Sending a threatening email, whether it's a prank or not, is not the way to go. Unresolved issues. Will the Randy Franks and Miss Walker ever be able to be mended? Will her classes ever be able to be mended? I think she's got to change, and I think the students have to change with her. Was the source of the email ever found? Was it Randy Franks? What did it happen at school? Number 3, who was all involved? Was it just Randy Franks? Was it an entire class? I highly doubt it was just him by himself. And lastly, what discipline was taking place with Randy Franks and the students involved? Category 5, Component 1, demonstrate sense of integrity and ethical behavior. Number 1, I need to reinforce to Miss Walker that she is safe and that we're taking this very seriously for her, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that she's taken care of as well as the school. Contact the district office, number 2. Make sure that we have their support, their guidance. Probably contact, like I said earlier, SRO or the police department just to make sure that we've covered all of our bases. Number 3, we want to protect the teachers from keeping this information confidential. Make sure that things don't get spread too wild, and then other things might happen if we don't keep it confidential. And number 4, what effects my decision will have on the school as a principal. If I come down too hard, if I come down not hard enough, will I lose the community? Will I lose my teachers? Category 5, Component 2, treat others fair. It's kind of the golden rule. You want to make sure that you treat everybody fairly and you do things the right way. By collecting all that information and doing it swiftly. Number 2, show Miss Walker that she's a valid member, that you want her as a teacher. We're sure that we need her as a teacher and the great qualities that she has. And number 3, make sure that you understand that this case is very serious, and we're going to do everything we can to resolve the situation. And component 3, demonstrate personal professional code of ethics. Inform the district office and follow the guidelines that they have set, as well as the school policies. Take this threat very serious. Even though it might be a prank, you're prepared for any action. And 3, follow the district policy when it comes to discipline in this situation if needed.